Friendship and Joy with me, Karen. I am now at my cottage and I've been hanging out here for pretty much the whole summer. It's my favorite spot to be in the summer, so yeah, I can't wait. Every chance I get to escape the city, I'll come out here. And I'm sitting now on my lovely veranda, and I figured I'll do an episode now before it gets too hot, because I wanted to show off my knitted things, and sometimes in this hot, humid summer it's just too warm to wear. So I wanted to talk to you about the Olava sweater that I was going to make in the different color technique. Instead of intarsia, I did it in the layered technique that Arne and Carlos have. I think they actually came up with that technique. It was brilliant. But before that, I want to show you how the Hjarta Lopi sweater turned out. This is an Icelandic sweater, and the pattern is by Amy Gleixner, I think her name was. And it's very thick, scratchy, warm. It's a fall sweater, and I think it turned out beautiful this time. I love the fall colors. It's something that will be great to wear when I'm out here at the cottage, and in, let's say, September, October, when it gets, or not September, but October when it gets really cold. Great sweater, or even for winter, obviously. A note on this sweater before I show you the Olava sweater is that when I made this one previously, I think I've talked about that other green sweater that didn't turn out so well because the color variation. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that sweater, but these sleeves, I do find that in general when you do color work in the sleeves, they do get a little tighter, and this pattern had very slim sleeves, and maybe my arms need a little bit more room. So I did end up casting on 10 more stitches at the bottom at the cuff here than what the pattern called for. And then I increased like it said, and I stopped at where, so I ended up with the right amount of stitches when it came to attach the sleeves. So just to give me a little bit more, and you can see this is still not a very wide sleeve at the bottom. So it was just that pattern that called for. Maybe the Amy Gleixner has tiny wrists. I don't know. But anyways, that worked for me. I often find that modifying a pattern a little bit to suit you better is sometimes a necessity. But yeah, I'm very pleased with how this sweater turned on. And now let me show you my Olava sweater. Actually, I'm gonna quickly change. Be right back. Ta-da! This is how the Olava sweater turned out. It is very, it's a boxy, roomy, fluffy sweater, and instead of doing the motif in intarsia, I ended up doing it in the watercolor technique, which worked for me. I think it turned out lovely, but the way when you pick up and knit with both colors, it really did flow, so I was able to knit it flat, and it wasn't as tricky. I did separate the teal color into 3 different little balls, and then over here I used 1 ball, center part 1 ball, and then this part in the 3rd. And then when I came up to here and it followed along, I just continued with the 1, and then up here in this part I separated them again. But since I'm always knitting with the background color, there was no twisting of the stitches. I did find that I had to carry the yarn a little bit here and there, which was not too bad. On the front side, I don't even think about it. On the purl side, I actually drop the yarn, I twist and whatever, so it's very... Anyways, I do find that this turned out really nice. I like the watercolor technique. But this gave me a bit of a, what should I say, interest into actually trying knitting flat. I don't know if I'll do intarsia, but knitting a Fair Isle sweater flat instead of on the round, I think I'm gonna try that next. As long as it's not too many carrying the floats. Yeah, I might try it. One note on this sweater, it does not call for any short rows up in the neck part, so that the front piece and the back piece are exactly the same length. And for that, I mean, this is a very boxy sweater, it's not supposed to be fitting, but it is a little short in the back. Then what happens? And I'm wondering, if I knit something like this again, I might just add a few more rows to the back piece, because I kind of want it to come down a little longer. In this sweater it doesn't matter much, because it's meant to be kind of irregular, loose and flowy. But if you do it slightly more tighter around the hips, it's kind of nice if the back piece come down a little bit so it sits more like that. So that's just another note. Because I do like this sweater, and I'm already in my mind already thinking of doing my own design. And I came up on that little test piece that I did in Sweden. I don't know if you remember, I made a little heart, and I'm thinking, what about blowing up and do a massive heart in a kind of reddish yarn, and then having maybe a beige sweater so that the reddish turn into more of a peachy pink. That might work. So for in the future, I might just do that. I do love, this is knitted in the Rowan yarn that the pattern calls for. So this is the, I think it's called Felted Tweed, and then this is the Kids Silk Haze yarn. And this is like knitting with air. It is so fluffy, and on the back side, I'm gonna just hold it up there, you can see it just creates like a, I don't even know if you need to even, I finished this yesterday, so I didn't really weave in the fluff. It kind of tufts itself. I cut the strands off and loosely wound them in a little bit, but it wasn't, I had to do too much to it because it's already, and then once I ironed it, yes, I iron it. Sometimes I block, sometimes I iron. This one does not need to get any bigger, so I ironed it with a wet towel on top and just pressed the steam into it, and it kind of just married the other yarn and it kind of blended. So yeah, I'm gonna try that. I did I did measure, so this pattern, oversized pattern, was a 93 by 93 stitches, and I then figured if I'll just do to do a 93 pattern on stitch fiddle, I couldn't even see to fill in every little square, so I kind of scaled it down, and then I will count each square that I've done on my stitch fiddle pattern as 3 stitches. So then it's like, okay, so then I ended up with 93 by 93. So I think I'm gonna actually try that. But before that, oh, and let me change back again. I'm back. Yeah, so before I attempt to do another one of those Olava sweater with my own design, I do want to tackle and practice and learning to like Fair Isle knitting flat. So I found a gorgeous pattern, a beautiful pattern. It's called Finch by Wallin. I believe it sounds like a Swedish name, but I'm not 100% sure if she's Swedish. But what a gorgeous sweater. Now, the yarn for this pattern is by Baram U Titus. Baram U, I think, is the name of the yarn, and Titus is the type of yarn in that line. absolutely gorgeous colors. I wanted to knit something with these colors because I'm in love with the color variation of the sweater. I priced it out. I found it. I could order it online, but that's a very pricey yarn. That to buy yarn in that for this pattern, it would turn out to be like over $300. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna find a less expensive alternative. And this is fingering weight, and of course I am very familiar with the Cascade Heritage that I've used in the past. So I picked up I bought it online, the Cascade Heritage 75 superwash merino wool and 25% nylon. I've used this, I mean, that is the yarn that I knitted in this one. So I bought it, and instead of paying $300, I think it was more like $85 for all the yarn. Is that what I paid? Sounds like too little. It was half the price. Say that. It was at least half the price. The only thing when you order yarns online is sometimes it is hard to see the proper color. It depends on your laptop, I guess, and the color, the display, or sometimes colors just don't look the same when they do online as they do in real life. So when I got these colors, I was a little bit, I don't know if this is gonna work, because these colors are way too bright. This one looked blue. Online it's actually more gray. This one looked gray, but it's actually black. This one looked beige, but it looks almost gray. And this one looked right. So I don't know if these colors will work, if it's going to look too bright. I'm not sure. I would not have picked these colors had I seen them in real life. However, in this line, they were the closest to what the pattern actually called for. This one could have been a little bit more burgundy as opposed to purple, a little darker, but oh well. I was thinking, since it is more than half the price off, then the Bawa URAM yarn is worth a try. And you don't know until you put the colors together to see how they're gonna blend and look. I mean, you can get an idea, but now I have all this yarn and I have to try it. I'm hoping it's gonna still, I mean, I'm not afraid of color, as you know. I love color. It's just that when I order them online, they looked a little bit more muted, a little bit more not as bright. But we'll see. I can't wait to dig in and knit this next. I also wanted to show, I bought another little Baba tree basket. These are beautiful. They're handmade. I love these baskets. I bought this big one at Sopper Creek Yarn a long time ago, and I'm in love with it. And my other basket in the city broke, so I bought another little one, so as a project basket, and these are so handy. I still like my little bag that I have, the canvas bag that I've shown you in the past, but sometimes just to carry the yarns in like this, I don't know. And they look cool. And these are gorgeous, and they're also sold at some of the better yarn stores, like Sopper Creek Yarn. I don't know others, but you can also order them online. But they are absolutely gorgeous, and I'm in love with them. Suzanne has one too. Hers different colors, I believe, but they're so, I don't know, they're cute. So with a pretty basket like that, I don't think it like it doesn't bother me that my work is sitting out. In the city, I keep everything up in my knitting room, but when I'm here at the cottage, I don't want to spread my stuff all over the place and bother the family, so I can keep it contained in my little basket and everyone's happy. I'll be busy for a little while with that one, with the intarsia, and then and not intarsia, the ferrule, knitting it flat, and I'm thinking if it doesn't work knitting flat, I can always modify that pattern and do it in the round, and then steek the sleeves and the neck, because you gotta, yeah, you have to kind of steek the neck too, because you want to dip down a little bit in the neck part. I have done that in the past with another sweater. I modified it and just steeked the sleeves. I actually find steeking is now, once you know the trick, it's actually very easy to do. Sewing together a flat, and that's another thing. I like knitting in the round because there's less sewing involved when you put your pieces together. You just sew a little bit underneath the arms usually to close the gaps that are created there. With the Olava sweater, and you had to sew first the shoulder seams together, and then you sew the flat arms on top of the shoulders, and then you do one long under side seam like this from the bottom of the sweater out to the wrist, and that is quite a bit of sewing, and I get such a sore back from sewing like that. Maybe because I'm not used to it, but this is how I put my stitches or my pieces together. I'm not going to go into a full tutorial because I'm not very good at explaining what I do, but I think this is called mattress stitch, and I find it very easy, and it looks really good because you get next to no seams, like it becomes almost invisible when you do it this way. So it's the best way to sew them together, I find. I sent this little video to my sister, who's very close to putting her pieces together for the sweater that she has knitted. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Other than that, I'm just enjoying life out here at the cottage. So beautiful. I'm just gonna enjoy these beautiful summer days, get some knitting in, and I don't know when I'll be uploading another episode. As you can tell, I'm not doing them as frequently anymore because I'm too busy with life, and it is not, unless I feel I have something to show you or some inspiration to talk about something, then it's very hard to come up with a topic to discuss. Now when I'm by myself, it's a lot easier when you have a friend with you. Now, speaking of friends, like the name that Suzanne and I came up with, Friendship and Joy, when we started this channel a couple of years ago now, we wanted to talk about what matters most in our life, and friendship is very important, and joy. Whatever you do in life should be joyful. If you can find joy in everything that you do, even if it's in your work or your family life or in your hobbies, you gotta find joy in something. Sometimes I can even find joy in doing dishes. I don't like doing dishes, but sometimes I just let the warm water run over my hands and oh, that feels so good, you know. So you can find joy in absolutely the most mundane, boring task. If you can find joy in life, then you become a happy person. It's as simple as that. You can always see, I guess, the silver lining and all that. Like, there's always something. So Friendship and Joy was the name we came up with. It just feels a little silly now, sitting here all alone with no friends. Oh God, I sit here by myself blabbering. It was easier to blabber along when I had a friend beside me, either Hillary or Suzanne. But well, I'm one of those people that I could make friends in an empty room. I guess that's me, myself, and I. Anyways, this was just another little quick update on what I've been doing and what's going on. And until next time, take care. Happy knitting. Bye. Vinkla upp, så var det. Vinkla upp. Va? Är den redan igång? Jaha, okej. Water. Water. Who is now texting me and interrupting me? A little so I don't look so fat. There we go. It can wait. This is Actually, it's not that hot. Yes, it is. Let me change.